That's all right.
You good, man?
You good?
I guess we'll start with the scrimmage today. Obviously, it's kind of the last scrimmage before the spring game. Thoughts on what you saw today?
We had the best positive we had. I felt like we had a lot of guys, different people make some big plays, whether it be a first down conversion, a long play, a touchdown, whatever it may be. You know, running backs, some of the tight ends, receivers, quarterbacks made a couple plays with their legs, which was good to see. So that was one of the biggest takeaways I kind of felt from the day is we kind of had some playmakers emerge, and that's what you got to have.
I heard from Antonio on Monday that Tink had been working with the first team, someone looking good. What have you seen from him this spring?
From Tink?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tink's kind of come on really this back half of our spring. I felt like he's kind of settled in and gained a little confidence, and, you know, he's definitely shown up in some of our scrimmage, last two for sure, you know, so he's one of those guys that's kind of a unique weapon.
What has Bryant Wesco added to the wide receiver room and the offense as a whole?
Yeah, Bryant's done a nice job. I mean, anytime as a freshman, the whole thing is just can you handle mentally, and then just the grind, the speed of the game, transitioning at his position at receiver, and once you transition to the college speed. You know, he's been able to mentally handle things, and I think he's a guy that's transitioned really well with the speed of the game. You know, he's a kid that just doesn't, you know, the moment's not too big for him. You know, he just kind of feels like that type of player to me, so I'm very pleased with this start.
What were you looking for today, and did some of those things you were looking for get accomplished out there?
Yeah, we kind of mixed up, you know, who was going against who today, and kind of mixed and matched a little bit more in this scrimmage. So he kind of put some guys in some advantageous situations or not advantageous. So I felt like really every group there was some growth. You know, some of our truly young guys emerged. You know, Keith Adams had a big day today, and didn't play Phil Maffa as much today. Kind of held him a little bit. So Keith kind of had a huge opportunity for himself, and he capitalized. He had a huge day for us.
And the quarterbacks?
Quarterbacks, yeah. Cade had a really nice day. He was consistent. Really sparked the whole day with the play he made with his feet. And he found Wesco for a pretty nice one, a big play, and that just kind of sparked the whole day. So I was happy with Cade and how he kind of bounced back from last scrimmage. CV's doing a lot of really good things. I mean, he's improving. He's getting reps. You can tell he's becoming more confident every single day. But he kind of had a bad play, and the great thing you see in these scrimmages, he had a bad play today, and then he bounced back and had a great play after that. So that's always a good sign that you see from a quarterback.
Has he been able to push Cade at all, or is it just merely a thing of Cade's getting better and CV's getting better?
No, I mean, there's competition there. That's what's good. I mean, you get a guy that's gonna put the ball in play, and I don't care what team, if it's ones, twos, threes, whoever, and whatever group he's in, if he's leading and we're driving the ball and scoring and creating touchdowns, like that's just gonna naturally kind of create that competition. So that's just kind of what we're seeing right now.
Where has this offense made the most strides this spring?
I think just our maturity level. I mean, overall, I mean, that's kind of what I expected coming off last season. Second year, the same offense. You got a quarterback that's played. You got O-line that's coming back, that's played a lot of snaps together. You know, it just felt like kind of our maturity just overall would emerge. And I think we've seen that. I think we're starting to see that. You know, and I think collectively up front, we've done some really good things, you know, whether it's pass protection or some of the run game. Like, I've seen a lot of growth in that room.
With the wide receivers, now you got a couple practices left. Are you where you wanted to be with that group, and being that this year you've had more of them than you've had last year at this time?
Yeah, no question. You know, we got some guys that are a little dinged up or whatever right now, but, you know, overall we're just so much further ahead, you know, just knowing what to do and how to do it. We've got a nice group of guys in there, like I said, that are starting to create some plays for themselves, some of these one-on-one situations, and they just got to make a play, and we're making some of those. So I like where we're at with that group right now for sure.
Now that you've had some healthier guys and there's consistency up front, is this going to look a little bit more like you want your offense to look than maybe at times last year because of injuries and different things happening?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's always going to be derived off of what personnel we have and what those guys can do. You know, but I think, again, the biggest thing that I'm seeing right now is just we got an older group. We got an older group that's played year 2 of the same offense, and guys that are just really have belief in one another. Not belief necessarily in the system. I'm not really talking about that, but belief in one another that guys are going to make plays. That's what I'm starting to see right now.
What's the competition been like at center, and what guys are really standing out, taking over that role?
Yeah, it's been a good competition for us. I mean, obviously, big shoes to fill with Putnam, a guy that's had 1 million snaps. I mean, Putnam's he's probably older than I am, you know. But Trent and Ryan Linthicum and Harris Sewell, I mean, all 3 of those guys getting rotated pretty good, and you know, I like that competition right there. Those guys have definitely improved through 13 practices. So.
You mentioned Keith Adams. Has anybody kind of separated themselves at that number 2 running back spot? Is it Keith and maybe everybody else, or?
Yeah, Keith definitely made a nice push today. There's no question about it. And then Jarvis Green made some really good plays as well. They had a couple really big plays. I think 1 pass, 2 runs, and then did some nice stuff down there at the goal line. So, you know, Jarvis Green is a guy that's done some really good things for us here as of late.
You moved D'Antonio to the outside, and obviously everybody's going to play different spots. But how has he kind of attacked that change?
Yeah, he's had a great spring. He really has. I mean, he's been consistent. I mean, we all know he's a playmaker, and he's one of those guys we're going to bank on to make plays. But he's a guy that's versatile. You can move him around, but he's a smart football player, you know. But the biggest thing for him is just challenging him to kind of take the next step as a leader, as a guy that he can really put his arm around the rest of the receiving core, and a guy that's going to practice consistently. Like, he's done that this spring, so I've been pleased with him.
Have there been any exciting surprises that you weren't necessarily expecting to see this spring?
One of the younger guys from last year that I think's made a huge jump is Marcus Dixon, tight end. You know, he's a guy coming from his high school and getting here. It was all sort of new to him, and just the transition of the speed of the game. But I've been really, really pleased with his growth, you know, in the last 6 months, call it. But he's a guy that has stood out for sure in terms of a big jump.
With Cade, have you seen more maturity out of him and a more settled player? You keep talking about maturity, everybody's here. Has he shown that maturity?
Yeah, no question. Yeah, I mean, this guy's played a lot of snaps now, and again, just being comfortable, and year 2 of the same language, same system, the same guys that are around him, and then some of the additions. You know, he's a guy that's you know, mentally is kind of what you wanted to see thus far, you know, through 13. I mean, the expectation of not having to try to feel like you got to make too much happen, and just those sort of things that it's when you're a high school quarterback and you've made plays all your life and you get away with making some of those plays and you don't at this level, you know, sometimes you just got to learn and go through it, you know, and so that's what I'm starting to see with them this spring.
People say bowl games don't matter, but the players have been saying that last drive did so much for Cade's confidence. Do you believe that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you get a 2-minute drive and play a bowl game against that opponent, and kind of the crazy day that was anyway, just the crazy game it was, and to cap it off the way we did, I mean, that's a huge confidence booster, you know, not just for him, but for everybody. I mean, for your entire team.
How's Hanafin progressed from this time last year now?
Yeah, Ronan's he's flashed here. He's flashed here again, kind of like Tink. I feel like a little bit kind of this back half of spring. Made a couple really big, nice plays today. So he's a guy that, I mean, he's going to work hard. He's going to work his tail off. But I think a guy that's starting to settle in from a technical standpoint. You know, that's just kind of where he's really needed to grow. And so I like his positioning right now.
Adam Randall's a guy that's been injured a couple of springs. Has he shown progress, improvement this spring?
Yeah, Adam had a great, really first spring. The guy was making some of these wild plays, you know, and what that does is just going to create confidence for him. But I mean, I really am pleased with his start in the spring for sure.
Who stepped up this spring as an offensive leadership role?
I mean, Maffa has for sure. Now, Maffa's really quiet, so he's going to lead in his own way, but people are going to look to Maffa. Jake Briningstool has had a great spring as well. Obviously, one of our better players for sure. but he's a guy that people look to as well. So I'd probably name those two off the bat. Tristan Lee, probably another one up front.
Dabo said that Jake's been preparing like a pro. What have you seen on your end from him?
Yeah, he has. I mean, just what those guys are asked to do in that room, it's a lot. I mean, other than the quarterback, those tight ends got to learn a ton of football, and they got to be smart football players and be able to handle a lot of different things. And so, again, year 2 for him being in this and just his development physically, it's going to be huge for him this next season. But he's a guy from a leadership standpoint, just a guy that people look to. I've really seen him make strides in that area for himself.
When you sat down with Coach Luke and said, "This is what I do," he said, "This is what I do," did you feel like, yeah, this is going to be able to work just fine? And then what have you seen out of his group?
Yeah, no, he's a guy that's done it for a long time. He's a guy that's willing to learn. So I mean, we jive very well that way, and the way we work together and the rest of our staff as we come up with our plan. But you can just tell he's going to be tough on the guys, but he's going to be able to get a high energy group, and he's a high energy guy. You've been to a practice or a game, and you see him roaming around. I mean, he's on it. So our group is certainly feeding off of that.
We've heard for a few years now, the defense is winning a lot of these scrimmages, but now we're hearing the offense is winning. Does that show you that you're making progress to be able to come out of scrimmage and go, hey, we want our share of battles today?
Oh, yeah. I mean, of course you want to compete, scrimmage, offense versus defense, whatever it is. You want to maybe go try and feel like you got the upper hand. But at the end of the day, we're just trying to get better. Like, we're trying to identify who our players are, what group's going to be able to get snaps for us on Saturdays when it really matters. So it's obviously for us, anytime you scrimmage against this defense, you better be ready, right? And there's some real simulation going on in our scrimmages that obviously is going to prepare us very well.
Josh Sapp obviously flashed as a pass catcher. Monday he said he's been working on that physical side of his game, especially as a blocker. Have you seen that during the spring?
Yeah, Josh Sapp's a guy that definitely has emerged. Skilled as a wideout type guy, skilled as a pass catcher, but a guy that's just really, really savvy, very savvy. He's become invested in the run game and kind of that part to your question. I mean, he certainly has. So look to have him have a big year.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.